Okay, thanks for joining this next module, which is all about option Greeks, and that probably sounds Greek. This is just a way of measuring option risk, and I hope it doesn't sound intimidating because once you get used to it, it's actually pretty simple and it's terribly useful. So I want to introduce you to this. It will make more sense as we get into examples and things, but there's a little bit here that's kind of intro level that is really worth knowing. Okay, so as we get into option Greeks, the first thing you have to do is you really have to understand the Black-Scholes formula. You need to memorize it. You need to know how to work through it. Just kidding, not really. Actually, this is a real formula. It is used in different ways for determining the option Greeks, but honestly, I couldn't even begin to tell you the inner workings of it or why it works, and nor do I intend to after trading options for decades. So you don't need to know that. But there is something called the Black-Scholes formula that, oddly enough, will help to determine the value of these things, but it's all done by analytical software these days, and you don't really need to know. But there are three main Greeks that come out of it, and these are delta, theta, and vega. And when we talk about them, what they are, they're ways of measuring risk or sensitivity to things happening. And they're really important. So delta measures the sensitivity of your position, your option, whether it's a single option or a spread. Whatever your position is that you've opened, the value of it's going to change as price moves. So how much is it going to change? Well, that's what delta tells you. That's why it's so valuable, because if you, let's say you have a position on Apple with an option, well, you know that if you have, say, a call option, you know that if the price goes up, that your position will increase in value. If the price goes down, your position might decrease in value. But how much? How much risk do you have there? Well, delta tells you that exact number. Theta measures the sensitivity to your position over time, because you know that options are a decaying asset. They have expiration dates. So over time, the value diminishes. Well, how much? How much in a day? How much each day? Well, theta tells you that exact number. And vega measures the sensitivity to implied volatility. And we're going to talk about what implied volatility is as well, so that you understand that. But basically, it's how much does the market think prices are going to move? And therefore, what are they paying? How much are they paying for options? So that kind of supply and demand push and pull that happens in the market, that tension is measured in something called implied volatility. And as that changes, vega is the thing that tells you how much your position is going to change. So you can see why these things are so important. They really tell you what your position looks like, where the risk is. They help you measure and forecast your P&L. In other words, your profit and loss is going to be implied through these numbers. You're going to know if price moves this way, or if 3 days passes, this happens. You're going to have some good idea about what the future holds in terms of your profit or loss. Ultimately, they measure the risk that you have. If things go against you, if you have a price movement in the wrong direction, or a volatility move in the wrong direction, what is that going to mean to your P&L? It'd be really good to know that. It'd be really good to know how much risk you have on the table. And that's why these option Greeks are so important. So hopefully that makes sense. And I think as you see some of the examples that we're going to go through, it will make more and more sense. So I mentioned you don't need to even get close to that Black-Scholes formula. I was just joking. But you can see that analytical software does this all for you. So here we have a put credit spread that we looked at in the spread when we were looking at spreads. This one happens to be an at the money put credit spread. You can see this is a fairly large position. This is 10 contracts, right? And remember, each contract is times 100. So I'm controlling 1,000 shares of stock here. So we've got 10 contracts on, and you can see that what we did was we sold the 155 and bought the 145, and the net credit on that is almost $5. So that would be nearly a $5,000 profit if things go up, and nearly a $5,000 loss if things go down. And you can see that reflected on the left there. But the thing I want to draw your attention to here is the Greeks. Right now, in the analytical software from Thinkorswim, they have this section called price slices. And this is called a price slice, this dotted line. So wherever you have a dotted line, you can put multiple lines in if you want. It will tell you what your delta is, right? So this is basically the value of price moves, how much you could make or lose. Your theta, right? This is going to tell you how much theta you're gonna gain and or lose. And then vega, which is your risk of implied volatility. We're going to go through each of these in the next videos, so you don't need to know what each of them are yet or how they work. I'm going to try to explain each one of them in a separate video. They'll be short, but that's what's coming up. I want to say also that there are many other Greeks. Gamma is a common Greek. It's a second order Greek. There's something called rho, which measures your sensitivity to interest rates. As you know, interest rates don't change that much, so I don't pay that much attention to it. There's many second and third order Greeks, Vanna, Charm, Bama. I won't even go into them. They're pretty sophisticated. Most of them eventually become pretty intuitive, so you don't really need to know. They're not even in most trading software. So something that I guess just to make you aware of, but nothing that you need to be concerned about. But if you hear about other Greeks, just know that there are some others out there. The three that we care about, delta, theta, and vega. And those are the three that if you watch the video that was how do options change value, that was really talking about delta, theta, and vega. How do options change value? Well, if price moves, they change. If time goes by, the value changes. And if the market believes that things are going to move, they change. That the way we measure those, how much they're going to change, is delta, theta, and vega. All right, so we're going to leave this one there, basic intro to what the Greeks are, and let's get into the next video where we'll talk about delta.